Like, I knew there was a way to help people. A buddy of mine actually had, said, "Hey, check out this link, it sounds like it's right up your alley." And so, I was reading up the front page, and I was like, "Holy cow, like, this is screaming my name, like, I need to check it out."
Welcome to Inside CTOx podcast. I'm Donna, head of membership and partnership, and today we're stepping inside the minds of some of the most innovative tech leaders out there. This isn't just a podcast, it's a place where CTO journeys come alive, where stories of struggles, breakthroughs, and growths unfold. We're here to unpack the experiences of real CTOs navigating through our CTOx accelerator and membership program. So sit back, tune in, let's get into the story. Welcome to another episode of the Inside CTOx podcast. Today, I'd like to introduce you to George, a powerhouse of transformation in tech. From leading enterprise level digital overhauls in the real estate sector to helping companies unlock real value through strategic innovation. George has a knack for making big, complex shifts feel seamless. But what makes him truly stand out within the CTOX tribe? Since joining CTOX, George has been orchestrating something quite special and something that most tech leaders could only dream of. He is relocating his entire family to Spain, all while keeping a fully operational, globally connected business thriving. Proof that freedom and high performance can go hand in hand. Welcome, George.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
So, Spain. Wow. That's a big move.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Are you excited?
I'm super excited. We still live in Europe when I was growing up, way back in the day,
Mm.
and so I've got a taste for, what that life is like. It's totally different, and I'm just looking forward to just having the family immerse in the culture there and just,
Yeah,
kick back on the beach and enjoy life out there.
that's fantastic. You're going to have a lot of jealous listeners. Just even the idea of it. Fantastic. So, so thank you for sharing your journey. Thinking back to before joining CTOX, what was happening in your career or your life at that time that just made joining CTX feel like the right move?
Yes, good, thoughtful question. So before I joined the program, I was actually just trying, like, I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew what it kind of looked like in the grand scheme of things. I didn't know that there was like an actual name for, what I wanted to do. And so, before joining the program, really I was just trying to figure out how to, put the jigsaw piece together.
Mm.
And so, just coming straight off of leaving corporate, I had since 2012 been working for a major organization handling product management and strategy on that side. And so,
Mm.
I knew that there was a lot of empirical wisdom that I could leverage, and in my expertise in real estate, and how much of an opportunity there was. I knew there was a way to help people. And so, I would grab this strategy, I would grab this framework and try to, create like this smorgasbord. And, for some folks it made sense, but like there needed to be structure. And
Mhm.
a buddy of mine actually had said, "Hey, check out this link. It sounds like it's right up your alley." And so, I was reading up the front page, and I was like, "Holy cow! Like, this is screaming my name. Like, I need to check it out." Set up a session with the team there, and got onboarded. I think it was the next day. So
Oh, so you're a quick start. Oh, good. We like
yeah,
that.
yep, nailed it.
So talk to me about real estate. Where did that come from? Is that a family thing? Is that local to you? How did you get into real estate?
Good question. So I have always been business minded, right? I've tried, ever since I was a teenager, try to, come up with new ideas, new ways to make money, and just try to, make a good and cool business. And real estate was, always the at the top of the list for, passive income and income generating. And it was just it was a keystone for really how to build wealth in a
Mhm.
lot of the areas that I was interested in. And so, I at first, I was looking at real estate from the lens of, like, an acquisitions piece, like, I would actually buy the real estate, I would be making the deals, and although I can, my expertise aligned more on the tech side,
Mhm,
and so, because a lot of the people in real estate, a large part of my network wanted to do the talking, wanted to do the relationship building and whatnot, but didn't have any framework behind it, I was like, "Heck yeah, like, I've I've got an answer for you. This is what you do, and these are, the dots that you connect," and so it just kinda naturally grew into this, you know, wild, wild ride that that we're
mhm. That we bring here today. That's fantastic.
yeah.
So, when we think about real estate, that's not a it doesn't seem like, at least, it's a tech focused industry. So, for the listeners thinking, "Oh my God, what are you even going to do in technology for real estate?" Give us a little bit of an overview of the type of tech you work with.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, you hit a really good nail on the head because there are very specific industries, real estate included, who are just incredibly slow to adopt technology. And a lot of the success from real estate comes from just honestly from the older folks who just have tougher skin and was able to, weather the storms, or they have capital to, to be able to have that kind of cushion. And so when you've got these older folks or these, startups or entrepreneurs who are just used to just like, pounding out elbow grease to get a deal done, nobody's, everybody's got a spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet, or a back of the napkin that they're using, and so, being able to come in and say, "Hey, this is how you should structure your CRM. These are the automations that you should be plugging in into your pipeline." The ideal end state for this whole thing is, like, I want for you to have an easy button, like a big red easy button. You just push the button and just watch stuff happen, watch the magic and automations and all that fun bot stuff, kinda just take place, and really just, automate as much as we can for the business, and that's really where I come in, is, helping out business owners automate their processes, organize their pipeline so that it's more effective, more purpose driven, implementing, AI where we can,
Mhm.
and, just helping, folks who are kinda later in the game to, to stay up front and make sure, I'm tagging them along in this crazy, crazy space of ours.
Later in the game, that's a great phrase.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about, you're one of the younger members in CTOX. I hope you don't mind me saying. So how do you, as this young cool guy, face up against these guys who are later in the game? Like, what approach do you take?
Luckily, I've got a pretty solid network, and so the word of mouth has spread pretty quickly about my skill set, and so luckily, I don't have an issue too much of an issue when it comes to saying, "Hey, here's what I can do," because everybody knows, at least in my network, what I could do. There are a lot of new faces that come across my desk, and I have my hat backwards. I've got tattoos, and I wear t-shirts and running shorts sometimes, and that's just that's that's who I am. And it doesn't matter, what how I dress or what I look like. If I can change the game for you and move the needle in some unbelievable ways and just create magic for your organization. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all that counts, right? It doesn't matter, how young I might look. What mind you, I am trying to grow a little bit of some, but
Do you think that's gonna make you look more older, more distinguished?
it, I tried growing it out, but it looks ridiculous. So
It looks good so far. What you've done so far, so it looks good. Um, so we talk a lot in the C2X about like leadership. So it's just not always being about the smartest guy in the room. So what has been some of the leadership tactics that you've used?
a lot of the leadership tactics that I use are really just like, I mean, kind of aligned to what you said, right? Just like acknowledging the fact that you don't know everything, and just trusting in my own abilities and my own skill set, and knowing and being confident in what I know, which is a lot. But coming from corporate, there were so many different personalities, so many different people that I had to get along with, shake hands with, and kind of put a fake smile on. Like I've gone through, different situations and even challenging times trying to get through from, on the people side, but
Mm,
it's really helped mold me to be able to service a wide, very wide spectrum of different folks, right? And
mm,
so when you come to these leaders, whether it's a fast talker, black and white kind of guy, or if it's a slow talker who just likes to kind of, spend the next 20 minutes talking about grandma's potato salad, like there's a way for you
mm,
to just, make sure that, like, as a leader, here's what we're gonna do together. Because it's not
mm,
just like, the way that I look at leadership is less about me being the expert, right?
mm,
Like, not to toot my horn, but, like, I know a lot of stuff, right? But I don't ever wanna be framed as the expert, because a lot of times what ends up happening is when a business owner sees an expert come on board, what tends to happen is they're like, "Okay, so you know everything,
mm,
and you probably should help run the business, right? Like, what should I
yes,
do now? Does this like, should we do this?" Like, and it's a collaboration thing, right? That leadership is ensuring that the integrity of what we're, coming in and shaking hands together on is a
mm,
collaborative effort. And
mm,
so being able to just, come together, say, we have different unique ways of contributing effort. Here's how I'm going to do it. Here's what I expect out of you. And, we just have that conversation, and it's really been beneficial, with that approach.
yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. And you seem to be like just staying very true to you and humble, if you don't mind me saying. How important is that kind of staying who you are in this kind of crazy world that we're in right now?
Yeah. So for me, with my analytical brain, like, I have to stay true to who I am, because, like, when I put on that face, or when I put on the extra smile that doesn't, like, when it doesn't feel right, like, I feel like it's a lie. Like, I feel like
Mm,
I'm lying to myself. And then, I meet with, I get into an engagement with these business owners. I don't like to portray myself in any way, just being naturally who I am, standing on my own values and my own moral beliefs and my own ethics. And, just standing in that space, knowing who I am, that just, I think that in itself inherently allows for that, some of that confidence to come out.
mm,
And, it's relatable. It's very people person to me, because that's how I connect. When I pretend to know something, or if I pretend to do anything in any way, like, I need to have I need to be able to fill in space. Like, even, like, so when I first started off, like, onboarding calls and discovery calls and whatnot, I had to have a script. And understanding that, like, a lot of these folks don't, like, they can tell you're reading a script, right? And so being able to, like, naturally engage and be able to answer questions honestly, and, without getting caught off guard, and they asked a question I wasn't really prepared for. Like, that's the kind of stuff that was like, "Oh, man, like, what am I doing? I have to reevaluate, like, who I am, what kind of service I'm providing, what I'm offering out there." And so just making a decision, figuring out, what it is I want to do, who I want to serve, who I want to be, who do I want to become, who do I need to, bring in to help me grow, what do I need to forego to, have those things happen for me. Like, they're all decisions that I have to make internally for myself, and that stuff really does speak volumes.
mm. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you for sharing that. Um, so let me ask you this. As a technologist, a leader, and a father about to move to a whole new world, what does freedom look like to you now as compared to maybe 10 years ago?
It's a good question. 10 years ago, let's see, 10 years ago, I was a guy who just wanted to do well, and I didn't really even have that part figured out. Like, I knew that, like, there's a lot of George in here, and George
Mhm,
has a lot to offer, and so
mhm,
I didn't know, like, how that part would evolve or what would unfold before me, and so what's crazy is everything that I've done, like, everything that I've wanted ever since I was little, I've always imagined me just, like, if I wanted a Mustang, I would imagine, the Mustang parked out in front of the house. If I wanted a house, I'd imagine literally the house that I live in now. I actually the previous owners probably thought it was a little creepy, but I knew that this house was for sale in the neighborhood that I've always wanted as a kid. The house was for sale. I parked in the driveway, and I imagined, like, "Oh, this is me coming home." I didn't live there. I
Wow.
lived somewhere else entirely different, but long story short, bought the house. And so, for
That's
me,
amazing.
back, 10 years ago, I knew that when I was gonna be in my 30s, I was gonna be successful. I was gonna have my own business. I was gonna have my own money. I was gonna have my own freedom. And so, call it manifestation, call it, whatever you want, but, it's all about just, making the choice and, really just acknowledging the fact that, like, the things that you talk about with yourself really
Mm,
do matter, right?
mm,
And so, I guess in another way to say, like, my manifestation now is being out there in Europe, being out there in Spain, and I imagine me and my daughter riding a bike on the beach and, just enjoying walking the cobblestone streets with my wife and just having, tapas and wine and going to the wine country, going to Paris and going to Italy for my birthday. Like, these are all things that I've made up in
mm.
my mind, have an actual scene in my movie, and it's all a matter of time, and so that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm just creating those stories for myself and for my family today.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. Oh, I'm really yeah, I can see that as you're talking about it, I can visualize that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's so much more clearer than you. And that's a wonderful like what a journey to go on from kind of where you were to kind of where you are now and what you can do with that. You know, in CTOX we see a lot of this like transformation shift. You know, they come in almost like one person and then, you know, 6 months later they feel like a completely different person. What part of the process within that CTOX accelerator did you really take the most from in terms of that transformation?
I think for me, it was, and it might sound cliche, but it was very hold the vision, trust the process. A
Mhm.
lot of a lot of the things that were, because, like, you join T2X and they literally tell you exactly what you need to do. And so for me, it was like, I don't I would find ways to call it self-sabotage. I don't know what you wanna call it, but, like, I don't know if I wanna go with this vendor. I don't know if I should do this. Should I work on this part? And so just being able to say, like, "Okay, let me just go through this
Mhm.
and see, how this evolves and how I can make it mine over time." For me, has been the biggest thing is because, when I have someone to help guide me, whether it's the community, whether it's the Slack, whether it's Leo or Marisa or you, whoever, whatever wizard comes on in our
Wizard.
in our life calls, it's been incredibly helpful, and just trusting you guys. Honestly, it's like there was a book that I read. I forgot which one it was, but essentially all it was saying was, like, when it comes to real estate, for example, you could figure it out on your own, but if you know someone who's got a strategy that works, just try it out. And
Yes.
so that's kind of the way I've adopted how I, stepped forward into this thing is just like, there's
Mhm.
a strategy here. Let me just trust the experts here, see
Mhm.
what happens. And yeah, I had no problem making it mine, but yeah,
Mhm.
it was just kind of following the steps.
I think that's it. I think you've just nailed it there. Is just like, you know, follow the steps and then make it your own. It's not
Mhm.
like everybody's on a different journey, so everybody's interpreting this in a slightly different way, and I think that's what's so exciting when you see the community. You have such wide range of people just from every possible background, even though the one thing in common, they're all CTOs, but just from such a different array of experiences, and they can all use the same proven processes, but making it their own. And I think
Yeah, absolutely.
that's a real exciting thing. So last question before the last question. If you could pass down one lesson to the next generation of CTOs coming up fast behind you, what would your one piece of advice be?
If I could choose one, it would really be about just I think most important is how you show up,
Mm,
and that means so many different things for me. It's like how you show up to your calls, how you show up to the client, how you show up for your family, how you show up for yourself. It's important because there are so many things that we hold so much importance to that just don't matter. Like
mm,
they don't even matter. And so, just being able to acknowledge the fact that, you've got people that look up to you. How you show up is incredibly important because it means everything. And
mm,
to be able to show up as your best self, and I think that there's a lot that comes from being able to do that. Like, you give yourself grace, you give yourself, permission to be who you are. You give yourself the ability to, manage your day to day a lot better. When you know who you are, you can show up authentically in a way that's just relatable. It's connectable. It feels good. It feels good inside, and it's extremely purpose driven.
Well, thank you. That's great advice, and you clearly live that advice. I can, I speak from experience on that.
Yeah.
Okay, our last question, and this is the you don't know anything about this, but we've done this on the other podcast, and it's been so much fun. So I'm gonna ask ChatGPT right here, live, a question, a thought-provoking question, and you have to answer it regardless of what it is. Are you ready for the challenge?
Let's go.
Okay, so let me just bring out ChatGPT. Here we go. Okay. Hello, ChatGPT. We love a bit of spontaneity, so we thought who better to challenge us than AI? What question would you like to ask a fractional CTO at this exact moment in time? Okay, it's thinking. Okay, okay, this is an interesting one for you.
Okay.
If your next client project had zero budget but infinite trust, what would you build and what would it reveal about how you truly want to lead?
That is a great question.
That's a good That might be the best question we've had yet.
I'll be
And I know you've
honest.
had experience with 0 budgets,
Yes,
so
yes,
it's a good
I
one
have.
for you. Yeah.
It I think the two biggest things that stick out to me are alignment and boundaries.
Mm,
I think that when you form a really great relationship with an individual, and, like, just everything they do just is super aligned to, like, everything that stand for. It's easy to say, "Let me help you out."
mm,
And especially for those who are just starting out, who don't know how to, like, snag a multi-figure retainer. Sometimes we kind of don't have a choice to, kind of prove ourselves before, that door to that gate is completely open. So, when it comes to doing free work, um, for me, it's like, I'm gonna still give everything. And
mm,
literally just 2 days ago, I had a really, really great friend, and or have a really great friend, not had. And he's telling me about this really, really amazing business idea, and I'm like, "Heck yeah, that sounds so cool." And so he's like, "Tell me what it would take to bring you on board. Um, I'm kind of cash strapped right now." I was like, "Okay, well, totally understand. I'll tell you what, let me just organize some notes. Let me come up with a, 30, 60, 90-day plan, put a real solid action plan together. Let's put it in front of us, see what that looks like. And then you tell me, we will, if we should have a conversation about doing business together." And so, I had spent a couple hours getting everything together, and gladly, because for me, it's like I don't want to do something halfway, right?
Mm,
Like,
mhm,
and so, just being able to stamp my name on it, I gave it my full effort, and, later on that evening, packaged it all together for him and said, "What do you think?" And he's like, "Oh, that looks solid."
mm.
Okay, cool. Here's what a retainer looks like. And so, and ultimately he decided, he was like, "You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do instead."
Mm,
And so I'm like, it's perfectly okay. Like I'm totally, fine with that. Like you put it out there in the universe, you better make it happen.
yeah.
And it's if I didn't have any other thing and anything else to do, yeah, I'd love to, like, okay, let's let's spin something
Mm,
up together. But there's a lot on my plate right now, and I got to make
mhm,
sure that I'm stewarding, my family's trust, my time, and just being able to make the right kind of choices. And a lot of times with boundaries, it's like when you establish the boundaries for yourself, like, you're gonna have to say no to a lot of stuff you probably
mm,
might have kind of bent a little backwards for before.
mm,
But by establishing those boundaries, when they're confronted, nobody really likes it. It's always like this
mhm.
kind of it's kind of like a weird kind of like nasty feeling. But, like, you're able to walk away with, I mean, your your dignity, you're
Yeah.
able to walk away with your professionalism, you're able to walk away with just, again, going back to who you are, being able
Mhm,
to stand tall, and honestly, just, exercising those boundaries, saying no to, like, the smaller projects or saying no to the free work.
mm,
You do that enough times, you're gonna have 20 clients at $200 a pop,
mm.
and you're gonna go crazy. I've been there,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
saying no to those kinds of things and allowing the space for my capacity to be allotted to what I'm here to do
Mm,
has allowed me to take on the clients that I wanna work with, who are able to pay the kind of tickets that I'm charging for and whatnot.
mm,
So,
mm.
yeah, that's the that's how I would.
That's it. Stay true. Stay true.
Mhm,
I think that's been the one thing I've seen from you over and over again is like stay true to who you are, stay true to the like, regardless of what the project is, regardless of what the client or the budget or what have you, staying true is what's going to keep you right.
mhm, exactly.
Great. Well, George, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your journey, your insight, your wisdom. So much wisdom at such a young age. We're blessed to have you. So thank you very much, and we'll see you again soon.
Absolutely. See ya.
Stories, experiences, and advice you hear today are incredibly valuable, not just for CTOs, but for the broader tech community and leaders. To our listeners, thanks for tuning in to Inside CTOx. Don't forget to follow us on social media, tag us, and share your favorite insights from the episode. We love hearing your feedback. Make sure to subscribe and check in again for our next episode, where we'll continue to explore the stories behind the tech leaders shaping the future. Until next time.